Kodan are commonly found in the snowy northern climes of Tyria. Adventurers who encounter them might notice, beyond their stature, their unwavering faith in and devotion to their god, Koda. Lauded as the judge for whom Kodan are the jury, Koda is an amorphous deity believed to exist in the mists, who guides the Kodan to live their lives based on his strict tenets and philosophy. Kodan believed that all of Tyria and the creatures upon it were created by will of Koda, right at the start of time. Once the world was formed, Koda harnessed energy and made spirits, and bestowed these spirits dominion over the land. These spirits were primal forces that changed and shifted and embodied a chaotic form of existence. They acted without guidance or impulse, and many were destructive and volatile. Over time, these early spirits took tangible forms, from embodiments of wind, water and fire to creatures like birds, wolves and bears. According to Kodan teachings, the bears were the first to speak. Watching the world around them, they noticed the churning cycles of death and creation, and could not fathom what function such chaos could have. So one bear sought out Koda and asked them why the world had to function as it did. Koda, pleased by their curiosity, offered them the opportunity to learn about the mysteries of existence, as long as they pledged to become a guardian of Tyria and a guiding influence to all other forms of life. In exchange for living by and spreading Koda's teachings, the bears that accepted became the Kodan, and their ancestors continued their charge and carried Koda's teachings through the centuries. Those spirits that did not want this burden remained as bears, and their ancestors live on in bestial form, with far fewer concerns for the machinations of existence. The Kodan held true to their promise and carried Koda's words into the world, and sought to teach other beings how to live in a way governed by balance. Koda's teachings are centered on this concept of balance. Amorphous and confusing to an outsider, it seems based on the notion that life takes many forms, some rageful, some patient, some destructive, some calming, but most are a blend of all. An entity can choose to encourage aspects of themselves and others, but must exercise caution not to indulge too far in any direction. There is a place for violence, a place for anger. Kodan will use their strength as needed to carry out balance. The sanctuary in Bitterfrost Frontier is a notable sanctuary for maintaining and spreading Koda's balance, and is the best place to learn about this aspect of Kodan religion. Here the Kodan are stewards for the last surviving flame, born from the eye of Koda and the spirit of the flame itself. Charged to guide the spirit by Koda, the ancestors of the Kodan who live in this sanctuary learnt a great deal from the spirit, and in turn seek to impart their knowledge about balance to those who visit the frontier. At first the flame existed as a force of pure destruction, and sought to voraciously consume everything that it touched. In the beginning, the Kodan did not truly understand that which Koda wished of them, and initially thought that the problem Koda saw in the flame was that it was consuming and destroying the wrong things. So the Kodan tried to guide the spirit to destroy what they perceived to be worthy of annihilation. But this angered Koda. During this time, they realized they had not approached the task given to them with balance in mind, and had such failed to truly guide the flame spirits in the way of Koda. Once they realized that teaching the spirit about destruction was only part of obtaining balance, the Kodan decided to attempt to teach the spirit about creation as well. So the Kodan brought fire into their sanctuaries and guided it to heat their homes, and used it to cook their food. In turn, the flame learnt that it could shelter as much as destroy. Eventually, the spirit of flame left Tyria. It had learnt all the Kodan could bestow upon it, and in turn had helped the Kodan learn balance as per the will of their god. And the Kodan go to great lengths to keep the sacred flame burning. They have even forged an alliance with the local Kodan in an attempt to bring new flame bearers into the fold, a choice that contradicts their usually insular practices and offers hope that the Kodan are willing, at least in part, to liaise with and support other inhabitants of Tyria. Where Kodan do not manage to maintain balance, Koda is believed to wreak punishment. Sanctuaries are tested when their voice succumbs to the rage of Koda, a form of madness. Voices are vulnerable at all times, as their minds are connected to the mists, a strange place that envelopes the entire multiverse and is made up of the fabric of time and space, connecting everything together. Koda is believed to reside in the mists, and in speaking with him, the voices risk becoming overwhelmed by the sheer vastness of reality. But where Koda bestows madness on the voice deliberately, it is called the time of trial. The time of trial and the conflict that it brings to the rest of the inhabitants of the tribe can only be removed when the tribe is successfully judged by Koda. Until then, they must strive to regain balance. Sometimes this is achievable, such as in deep and troubled waters. Here the ice brood attacks have weakened the claw, and without their strength the voice is overwhelmed. But with assistance, the Kodan clear their sanctuary and purge the madness from their voice with combat. Clear of mind again, she is able to retreat to the sanctuary's core and commune with Koda, at least for one more day. Unfortunately, more often than not, the voice succumbs to the trial and dies. Though this is a sorrowful event, it brings hope to the sanctuary, as in taking their voice, Kodan believe Koda has cleansed the tribe, opening the way for them to regain balance once again. As a reward for successfully living a life of balance, Koda's followers believe that worthy creatures will ascend through reincarnation. At first, a creature will be reincarnated as their kind. Humans will be reborn as humans, Char as Char, and so on. And when a being learns Koda's way, and truly lives according to balance, they will ascend to the next creature up in the hierarchy of enlightenment. It's not clear where each race falls in the hierarchy, other than Kodan consider themselves at the pinnacle, and there is debate even amongst the Kodan as to where creatures place. For example, some Kodan believe the dwarves, a race of beings now largely extinct on Tyria, are at the very bottom of the hierarchy, as their hubris led them to perform rituals and enter battles that decimated their kind. The dwarves had entered into a ritual some 250 years prior to modern-day events. The ritual turned their mortal bodies to stone, and the dwarves hoped this would make them indestructible in the face of their enemy, the Destroyers, the minions of the Elder Dragon Primordus. Though it did aid them in the defeat of one of the dragon's champions, the remaining dwarves became trapped in relentless battles against the Destroyers, and vanished from the surface of Tyria. And yet other Kodan wonder if the dwarves have instead ascended even further than Kodan can comprehend, leaving the mortal plane to lands unknown, now no longer concerned with Tyrian events, having completed their mission in defense of their land and people against the destructive forces of the dragons. Either way, the belief that Kodan return reincarnated is a great comfort to some Kodan, whether there is evidence for it or not. Here in Lost Child's Sorrow, a small settlement of refugees in Snowdon Drifts, followed by night, awaits the return of her son, who was lost to the mountains. She tells travellers of her faith he will return, but it's not clear how long she has been waiting, or whether her belief is nothing more than a veil for her grief. The Kodan have worshipped Koda for thousands of years, shaping their lives to maintain balance as best they can. Though external events such as the wrath of the Elder Dragons threatened and sometimes succeeded in shaking their resolve, what sets Kodan apart is their steadfast faith and iron will to continue. Modern Kodan managed to live with dignity by banding together, and tentative alliances with other races on Tyria have meant that Koda and their teachings will continue on.